Today, I'm going to do a video that I was tagged in by Brittany from Books with Brittany. I'll have her channel linked down below. And it's a video that I saw kind of get started with Murphy and Daniel on their channels, who I'm sure you all follow because they are like mega huge booktubers for adult SFF. And it was the Perfect Book Challenge. So the idea is put together a team of authors and you give each author like a certain aspect of a book to make the perfect book. And I've seen it done a few different ways between the three of them, and I am definitely going the route of not trying to actually create the perfect book. Like, I'm going to say like, this is the person I'd want to do this thing. And I tried really, really hard, and I think succeeded, to only like not double up using authors, because I feel like I have authors who I think are very good at multiple aspects. So trying to pick the part I really want them to work with, but also pick the ones that were like, for me, the best at what they do for that aspect, it'll make sense. So it's not quite like a tag video, but it is broken down into like ideas to think about. And the first one is prose. And this one's hard because I feel like I can get by with lots of different prose style. I tend to like more direct writing. Just because then the writing is not a barrier to entry for my brain. I've always had to work harder for more lyrical prose or purple prose. But honestly, the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense that it would be N.K. Jemisin who would be writing the prose for this book. Because just her narrative structure, the way she puts sentences together, how innovative she is, I have loved everything I've read by her. I consistently say that I would read her grocery list, and that's true. I love every word she writes down. I read every acknowledgements page she writes. I read all the intros and things to her books. I love how she writes, and I love her ideas. But if I had to pick one thing for Jemisin to be in charge of for this, I would pick her to be the prose mastermind for this book. The next one is world building, and this is so hard because I'm such a world building driven reader, so I have lots of authors who are extremely good at world building because that's what I go for. But to pick one, I'm going with Yoon Ha Lee, the author of the Machinery's Empire series, you know, that sci-fi series that I really, really love. And that's just because it's the execution and the imagination. I loved both of them so much. I loved what he did with a space opera world. It wasn't like anything I've ever seen before. It was so intriguing, but also the execution, the very throw you into the deep end and you just gotta swim sort of approach to world building, I really could get behind. For me, it was the first time I'd ever read a book that aggressive in its world building technique, but I loved it. I just remember reading it and being like, I've never experienced this before. This is great. It was just like a whole new world. Pun intended. And so now he's going to be in charge of that part of this book. Now the next one is Magic System, and I feel like this is no surprise. I feel like a lot of people would probably do this if they have similar tastes to me, and that's Brandon Sanderson. You know, my entire top shelf. His magic systems are so well thought out, and I personally love how grounded in actual science they are. I don't think that's a requirement. I don't actually think you need to have magic systems be hard magic systems. But boy, do I like it. And I was just reading Rhythm of War in the fall, and I just remembered how much I like that type of magic system, just how grounded it is in things. Like, I could predict how parts of it might work because of how things work in our reality. And I don't need things to actually be true to reality, like it's a fantasy book. But it's still so cool, and I really like it. I mean, gosh, you have allomancy, you have ferochemistry, in the Mistborn worlds, you got all of the surge binding. The magic systems are so cool. There need to be video games for them, and he's going to be in charge of the magic system because he's also very consistent in that part of his world building, and that's very, very important for me with magic. Like, if you are going to apply rules and make a system, I don't care what you do with it, just be consistent within your own sphere of rules. Okay, next up, who is in charge of characters? And this is really hard because I've already used Jemisin and Sanderson and Yoon Ha Lee, and I love all of their character work so much for different reasons, but I tried not to double up, but just know that all of those authors are amazing. And I'm going with S.A. Chakraborty. And so she wrote the Davabad trilogy, which I don't like have a standalone review for or anything because it's stuff that I really read before the channel. And then when I was rereading them, I was moving, so I wasn't making as many review videos. I should probably do a should you read for it, but as of now, I haven't really talked about it outside of vlogs or wrap-ups that much. And I love it, and the main reason I love that series is the character interpersonal relationships and how they interact with each other, and just how multi-layered they feel. Like, I don't feel quite like anyone in that series is like just their trope, but they are based off tropes I find comfortable. And I think that's a really powerful skill, to be able to take a comfortable trope that we all like in storytelling, but still make that person multi-dimensional. And I trust her to do that. I'm really excited for when she writes her next series. I have no idea what it'll be. If somebody else knows, let me know. But that's who I've decided is in charge of the character work for this epic novel. All right, the next one is plot, and while thinking of this list, I realized I am not a very plot-driven reader, at least not as much as maybe I used to be. I mean, obviously all the people I've mentioned before have plots that I care about, but I don't read them because of the plot. Although I guess with Sanderson, he is such a good storyteller, which really, for me, means the plot also is very fulfilling. But again, not doubling up. So I went with Brent Weeks. Brent Weeks, I have his whole Lightbringer series, and that's really what I'm thinking about. I don't love the Night Angel trilogy, but for his Lightbringer series, it is so bingeable and addictive. That plot, the twists, the turns, the highs, the lows, it's really great. So that's why he's here for the plot author. Honorable mention for Robert Jackson Bennett, because he almost was the one I chose. Like, when I think of his stories, I really think about how they could be movies. And when I start thinking of a book as a movie, it usually means it's more plot-driven, just because a lot of the movies I watch are a little bit just more action-packed and plot-driven. I'm also associating plot with fast-paced, and I don't know why, but that seems to be what I do. And yeah, so just know that that's how I'm making this decision. All right, this next one is action and battle scenes, which actually is tricky because, not being a very visual reader, some of these scenes can be very confusing and a lot of work. And I've gone back and forth. At first, I wanted to go with Andrzej Sapkowski for The Witcher. So what did I want to do first? Because when I read The Witcher, the first thing I realized while reading this book was like, I can see what Geralt's doing. Which that is not a normal thing for me. If someone writes like a sword fighting scene, I'm not normally like there. But for me, the direct way that it was written, I was like, I can see what's happening. But I don't think that's the case for everyone. And then I remembered M.L. Wong wrote The Sword of Kaigen. And then I remembered those battle scenes. So she's the author I'm picking for this. Like, the way she handled that battle scene, the pacing of it, the highs and the lows, the big moments, the sad moments, I was all about it. It's a huge part of the story. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite part of that story, but that is why I'm picking her for this. I can't quite think of how I would put her anywhere else just because I only have that one work from her, but man, am I really excited to read more. The next one up is humor, and this was hard because I don't think I read for humor often. I usually kind of just stumble upon it, and some authors who are funny, they don't like make me laugh. But an author who I've now read 2 of their works and who consistently makes me chuckle or smile while I read their works is Karen Lord. So this is Redemption in Indigo. This is her debut. I love this book, and then I just read The Best of All Possible Worlds, and I love that book. So she is a great author with a very satirical writing style that's still beautiful, but her authorial voice, the voice she puts into her characters, I'm like, I want to be that person's friend because she'll make me laugh over dinner. Like, that's the type of humor I get. So it's not meant to be funny. Like, this one's actually a folktale. So the folktale itself is quite humorous. It's about this gluttonous husband. He's getting into mischief. So like, that itself is funny, but just like the authorial voice is so funny, and I can't wait to read more of her works. Not because I'm looking for that humor, but I just like how subtle she is about it, or I don't know if that's the right word, but I like how it's added in because I don't read books to laugh per se. So that's who I'm choosing for this. I thought about like obvious ones like Terry Pratchett, but he doesn't actually always make me laugh. I'm more just like, go like, oh yeah, I see what you're doing there. That's some nice satire, but it doesn't like get me. And these ones I like legit, like, I'm like, that's so funny. Like, what are you doing breaking the fourth wall like that, ma'am? Like, it's so great. All right, this next one is really, really, really hard because I've already mentioned all of these amazing authors who have some of my favorite characters, and this is the prompt for hero. Who is going to write the hero of this story? It was so hard. And so I landed, I almost went with Sapkowski for Geralt, but Sapkowski like purposely doesn't write Geralt in often enough for me. Like if you're going to make a hero like Geralt, I want him to be on page more. That's like what I want. Like that's why I'm there. I feel like I was sold false goods sort of thing. So instead I went with Vazia from The Bear and the Nightingale because I love her. I think she's an amazing heroine. She's just amazing. She forges her own path, but she's also, you know, very, I don't know, she's just not like a lone wolf hero. She still values her community, but she is also very independent. She's unapologetically herself, but she also, like, I don't know, Vazia is just so cool. So Katherine Arden creating a character like that, I would have faith in her making another compelling hero because I like heroes who don't mind being heroes, and Vazia is all about taking up that mantle. I don't need the reluctant chosen one. I just want a good hero to come save the day. This next one was really easy. Might have been one of the first things I wrote down, and this is for the villain. Robin Hobb. Yeah, I have never hated villains more than when I read Robin Hobb. So far, I've read 4 books. Read the entire Farseer trilogy, and I read Ship of Magic, which has a review and a vlog. The vlog is mostly there, so I can talk about the villain of that book. Or a villain, I guess, who knows. But in the first trilogy, there is a character who is like the worst, and I thought I'd never hate anyone more, and then I read Ship of Magic, so she's writing the villain. I have never hated characters more than how she writes villains. But honorable mention to Fonda Lee, because I think she also writes very complex, nuanced, and compelling characters for the Greenbone Saga series. But like Robin Hobb, it's just another level for me. I'm just like, I hate this person. I need them to lose so bad. And normally, you know, villains, I'm more like, good, do we have an antagonistic force? Or even I've said in other videos, I like the antagonistic force to be the world around us, not necessarily like a particular person. But no, Robin Hobb just gives me a person to root against, and I'm very happy about it. So that's this video. It was really fun to put together, so thanks Brittany for tagging me, and I want to tag a few people because I think it's kind of a fun challenge. So we've got Andy from his channel, Andy Smith. He's great. I assume you guys have probably seen him. If you like standalone reviews, you should really check out his channel. He does that a lot. He also does this kind of Monday trivia night thing that actually, while you're seeing this, Ryan and I had just participated in on Monday. So I will maybe link that down below. I'm sure it was a blast. We haven't filmed it yet, but it's a really fun thing he's done for the community to help people see other booktube channels and help people get monetized. So that's a great thing he does. And I'm also now going to tag a bunch of people who have tagged me lately. So I'm returning the favor. So Leslie from The Nerdy Narrative, she tagged me in the blindfold challenge, so now you're tagged for this. And Stephanie and Evie both tagged me in the Choose Your Own Adventure tag, so now they're tagged. And I want to tag one more person, and that's going to be Jade from Bedtime Bookworm. And obviously anyone else who wants to do this if you think it's fun. I thought it was a fun way of thinking about all my favorite authors and what they do best. But that's it for this one. If you want to participate and just do this challenge in the comments, go ahead. Or if you want, we can talk about it more in the Discord. You'll find that down in the description below. And otherwise, if you want to leave an emoji, I don't know, leave like a pen, like for authors, since this really focused on authors. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.